Hey guys. Hi. Good evening, everybody. I know it's been a while. I've been taking care of business. I took a old person's nap and I took care of a lot of stuff. And I said that okay, let's go. Hey guys. Hello. Black Beauty, I like that picture of yours. Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, good people. Hey, Rob. Hey, Bree. Hello, Lady Coltrane. Hey, Ashley. I got. Okay, I'm sorry. Just got excited about something. Just got excited about something. Members, after this, we're gonna go to the back. I got some updates for y'all. Okay. All right. So Black Beauty, Lady Coltrane, and Kim, I got the okay. I got the okay. All right. So let me go ahead and give you guys the update on, not the update, yesterday's hearing. And I know a lot of you guys saw it on the other channel, and there were some things you didn't understand, and we're going to take slow motion on it. And there's some things I'm not going to show because I'm not going to tell about, like, we're just going to do the end part, right? The end part. I'm not going to show the beginning part because I don't like personal information being given. And I thought it was unfair for the address to be given in the public. You know how that channel was showing it. And I just think there's people need to be protected, period. Not just one side, on both sides. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to show you the end part of his hearing and not the beginning part, because the beginning part, there was too much personal information provided, and I'm just that type of person. Yeah, I might not like it, but I just, I feel people need their privacy, and addresses should not be given to the public like that. So that's just me. Okay. So without further ado, I am going to show you guys the hearing. All right. So okay, I'm gonna put it light, the light, so you guys can see through it, right? Okay. All right, let's go ahead on and let me share it with you guys. Let me go in here, pull it up for you, and then I will share it. How's everyone doing? I know I didn't say hello to everybody. That's because I wanted to get going with this stuff. I don't want to stay here too long, right? Right? Let's do some sound effects. Let's do some sound effects. The popo coming, y'all. The popo came and chased after him and got him, right? All right, let's go. Too many files here, y'all. Too many files. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. All right. I'm looking at the Toshiba. There's two Toshibas. Which Toshiba is it? It's not the fire one. This is the Toshiba right here. All right, there we go. Okay, I am going to start at Oh, we're not going to start there. Let's start at the bottom. Here we go. Let's start with that one. All right, you guys ready? Why it's not playing? Okay, what's going on with this thing here?
LTT.
Oh. Why it's not playing, I don't know. Let's start over again. Hold on. Let's start over. I don't know why it's not playing. Let's try it. Okay, now it's playing. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Don't know why it wasn't playing. There we go.
And if he had not appeared any of those things, how would you have alerted the court, or would you have even alerted the court or made someone aware that he was not?
Well, at the time that I spoke with Mr. Greer, he did have an attorney sitting beside him at the time.
Okay.
From what I could tell, he understood, but if I felt like he didn't understand, I would have hoped that his attorney would have said something to me so that we could speak to the judge to let him know that he didn't understand the information, but I would not have said anything else.
Okay. Did at any time you bring to his attorney's attention that he appeared to not understand something that you said?
No.
As part of the intake procedure, do you obtain from the probationer the address that he is expected to live at?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, gotta bypass that part. Sorry. Remember I told you I don't give people addresses. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that with these people. Hold
on. So we have to have a legitimate address for them to go out there, because if it's not.
They still talking about the addresses. Sorry, guys.
County at the time that they are placed on probation?
No, they do not.
What happens if they indicate in any way that they will not reside in Fulton County?
I would transfer the case to the county that they live in.
Did the defendant QUANTAVIOUS?
Okay. All right, we're trying to get away from the address stuff. Let me move down to something else. Sorry about that. I just don't want people address, and I don't know where it's exactly is right now. So let's move on to this.
PRIDDY.
Good morning, Officer Pretty. How are you?
Good morning.
Officer Pretty, just for the record, would you please state where it is that you are currently employed?
I'm employed with the Department of Community Supervision.
And is a more colloquial term for that the probation department?
Yes, felony probation.
And what are your responsibilities with the Department of Community Supervision?
I am the court specialist that reports to court, and the information that I give to the defendants when they're sentenced on probation is where they're supposed to report to probation, a video that they're supposed to watch, and give dates and time.
What does the video that they are supposed to watch, being defendants,
Yes.
consist of?
The video is explaining what felony probation offers DCS. whether it is housing, counseling, food if necessary. And it also explains any issues that they have with probation with their officer, what they can and can't do, if they feel that they need to file a grievance, how to go about filing a grievance if they're having issues. And
Okay, that's that part. Hold on. We got it broken in pieces so it could be easy. 1 second. All right.
that I know of.
Okay. Did the defendant at any time ask you for permission to be at 221?
Okay, the address that she's about to give now is the over there by Cleveland Avenue. That one I can show you guys. Hold on.
That I know of.
Okay. Did the defendant at any time ask you for permission to be at 221 Cleveland Avenue past his curfew?
No, he never asked me that.
Did you at any time give him special permission to be at 221 Cleveland Avenue past his curfew?
No, I did not.
Okay. Are you familiar with what the defendant's general conditions of probation were?
Yes, they're actually on the sentence sheet, which is what we follow when it comes to the general conditions of probation.
And what were they?
He is not to, and I read it from the sentence sheet.
Yes, actually you may.
The general conditions is do not violate criminal laws of any governmental unit and be of general good behavior, avoid injurious and vicious habits, avoid persons or places of disreputable or harmful character, report to community supervision officer as directed and permit the community supervision officer to visit you at home or elsewhere, work faithfully at suitable employment insofar as may be possible. Do not change your place of abode, move outside the jurisdiction of the court, or leave Georgia without permission of the community supervision officer. If permitted to move or travel to another state, you agree to waive extradition from any jurisdiction where you may be found and not contest any effort by any jurisdiction to return you to this state. Support your legal dependents to the best of your ability. When directed in the discretion of the community supervision officer, submit an evaluation and testing related to rehabilitation and participate in successfully complete rehabilitative programming. Wear a device capable of tracking location by means including electronic surveillance or global positioning satellite systems. Complete a residential or non-residential program for substance abuse or mental health treatment, and or agree to an imposition of graduated sanctions as defined by law and make restitution as ordered by the court.
Are there any fines or fees that the defendant was required to pay as part of his probation?
Yes, it is marked that he's supposed to pay the probation supervision fees.
And what amount was that?
It's $32 a month.
Was any part of that waived as far as you are aware during the defendant's sentencing?
No.
And were you able to review the defendant's records prior to coming into court?
I was.
And has the defendant complied with his payment of fines and fees? Based on the records that you
based on the records that I did review, I did not review that part.
Okay. And what about his his community service? Was it your responsibility or the responsibility of the officer or intake officer in Newton to go further into that with the defendant?
It is the intake officer in Newton County.
Okay. At any time, did you give the defendant
All right, hold on, y'all. Let me get the rest of the video. Hold on.
Good morning, Officer Singleton. Would you please tell the court where it is that you are currently employed?
The Atlanta Department of Community Supervision Office here in Fulton County,
And how long have you been employed there?
since 2017.
Is it your responsibility to supervise probationers while they are on probation?
Not necessarily probationers, but I'm one of the assistant chiefs.
Okay.
So I supervise probation officers, and then when we have a shortage, I pick up some of the cases.
In 2023, did you pick up a case involving the defendant QUANTAVIOUS GRIER?
Yes.
Do you recall when it was that you picked that case up?
February 27th.
Okay. And was QUANTAVIOUS GRIER required as a part of his probation to complete community service hours?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, did QUANTAVIOUS GRIER complete any community service hours during the time that he was on probation?
No.
Was the defendant QUANTAVIOUS GRIER required to pay any fees or fines?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did QUANTAVIOUS GRIER, was he required to pay them monthly, weekly?
Monthly.
And did QUANTAVIOUS GRIER pay any fees or fines beyond January the 23rd of 2023?
No.
Okay. That's all that I have for now.
Cross.
In your time as supervising Mr. Greer, did you direct him to complete his community service at any specific location?
No, I never had a conversation with Mr. Greer.
So you never instructed him to complete community service at all?
No.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, anything further, Ms. Love?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
You said that you never had any communication with Mr. Greer at all. Did you ever see Mr. Greer during the time that you first started supervising him to the time that he was arrested?
No, I
in May
did.
of 2023.
No, I did not.
Did you ever receive a phone call from Mr. Greer during that time?
No.
Did you ever receive word that he had called for you during that time?
No.
Thank you. That's all that I have.
Anything further?
Yes, Your Honor, 1 second.
Go ahead, okay.
Mr. Singleton, at initial intake in Fulton, is there a specific number that is typically called by probation officers for further instructions?
Yes.
And-
At our office, when they come in, we give them the office number and instruct them to call within 5 days, 5 business days.
And when they call that line, are they typically told that their officer will be in contact with them?
Didn't know. I don't know what the person telling them because it's one of the admin staff that answers the telephone. So some of them give them the direct name and telephone number for the officer, and some of them may tell them that the officer will be in touch with them.
Have you ever attempted to make contact with Mr. Greer?
No.
Mr. Singleton, you filled out the petition for violation, correct?
Correct.
Was he violated for non-reporting?
No.
Okay, nothing further.
Anything further on behalf of the state?
Not from this officer, Your Honor. Not
May
from
we
this officer.
excuse, Mr. Singleton?
Yes, thank you, Judge.
All right. I'm gonna excuse you for purposes of this particular hearing, and you're free to go about your usual duties and avocation, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
State calls Officer Madeline Goodacre,
How does she spell her last name?
Goodaker, Your Honor.
Thank you. Officer Goodacre, madam, if you would please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you would turn and face Deputy Ingram, be sworn as a witness before you sit down.
You raise your right hand. Swear firm testimony you give the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
I see. State this first and last, of course, please.
First name Madeline, Madelyn. Last name Goodacre, Goodaker.
Good afternoon, good morning, Officer Goodacre. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Officer Goodacre, would you please tell the court where it is that you are currently employed?
Department of Community Supervision,
In what county?
Newton County.
What is your role there?
I'm a Community Supervision Officer.
Okay. Were you working as a community supervision officer in January of 2023?
Yes.
And would you tell the court what your responsibilities are as a community supervision officer?
My responsibilities as a Community Supervision Officer are to supervise people on my caseload. So that entails making sure that they are complying with the conditions of their sentence, making sure they're reporting as instructed to do so.
Do you perform intake duties as well as part of
Yes.
your responsibilities? On January the 5th of 2023, did you have contact with a QUANTAVIOUS GRIER as a probationer transferred from Fulton County to Newton County?
Yes.
And do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Would you please describe what he is wearing and where he is seated for the record?
The man on my right in the orange jumpsuit.
Your Honor, would the record please reflect that the witness has identified the defendant QUANTAVIOUS GRIER?
It shall.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Goodacre. Did you have contact with Mr. Greer in the Newton County Probation Office, or did you have that contact somewhere else?
In the Newton County Probation Office.
And when you did have contact with him, did he appear to have any trouble understanding the words that you relayed and the conditions of his probation that you conveyed to him?
No.
Generally, would you please apprise the court of the conditions and requirements that you conveyed to Mr. Greer?
So during his intake process, we discussed general conditions of probation, to include not violating the law, avoid dangerous and vicious habits, reporting as directed, not changing his residence without permission or leaving the state without permission from his probation officer. We also discussed the conditions of his sentence. We went over that in detail, as well as all of his special condition requirements.
Did Mr. Greer appear to have any trouble understanding any of those requirements that you explained to him?
No.
Was Mr. Greer given the responsibility of completing community service?
Yes.
Where was he told to complete the community service?
He was instructed to get in contact with our community service coordinator to get it set up.
Okay. And do you know the place that he was required to report?
I do not.
Okay. To your knowledge, did the defendant ever complete any hours of community service as reflected in your records?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Now, when you explain the requirements of his probation, are there any special acknowledgement forms that you have the defendant to fill out or form or read?
Yes.
What are they?
We have a firearms acknowledgement. We also have a restoration of rights acknowledgement, as well as a drug screen instructions acknowledgement.
What is the purpose of the firearms acknowledgement?
The purpose of the firearms acknowledgement is to ensure that our supervisees are aware that they may not possess firearms or be around them whatsoever.
I'm going to show you what I have marked as State's Exhibit number 3 and State's Exhibit.
Okay, hold on a second, y'all. They chopped it up. So that's the way I have to give it to y'all, chopped up.
To have portions of that read into the record, since it has already been admitted by the court as
Hold on.
Good morning. Exhibit 3, state requests permission to reference court's exhibit number 3, or in the alternative, I can utilize what I've labeled as state's exhibit 4, which is the same.
Well, since I was the jurist that took the guilty plea, and I can take judicial notice of what's in Odyssey anyways, but just for purposes of record, the court decided that I would just have the guilty plea transcribed for those purposes. So you're welcome to use whatever parts of it you choose to.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Pretty, just because we have now course exhibit 3 as part of the record, and I'm going to show you a portion.
Hold on a second. We have to stop for a second. Hold on. I went back up.
And
mistake.
Ask if, for the record, you will read.
Sorry about that.
Exhibit number 4, which had been previously shown to the defendant.
All right, let's go.
Who it is that is holding the firearm?
Yes, ma'am. It's Sergeant Brian Hill.
Okay. And were you on scene when the images that are depicted in state 6 and 7 took place in real time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and do they accurately reflect Sergeant Hill holding the firearm after it was retrieved from the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, the state tender states exhibit 6 and 7 is evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
State 6 and 7 are admitted.
And Your Honor, I will just state for the record that when we approached, defense counsel stipulated to the violations that are listed in the defendant's probation violation warrant. But
No, Your Honor.
Officer Raston, do you know what type of gun it is that was taken out of the door panel of the vehicle the defendant was driving?
It's a Glock. I believe it's a 19. If you would allow me, I could read the make and model and the serial number.
Okay. I'm going to show you an incident report from case number 231241240. Will that refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
I've given this to the defense as well. Approaching the witness with the report.
We'll mark that
Yes, Your Honor.
purposes.
Yes. Thank you, Judge. I will do that. Have you had an opportunity to refresh your memory with what I will mark as State's Exhibit 8? And let me do this. I'm going to mark the first page, and then I'm going to turn over to page 2 of 6 and ask you if the make and model on 2 of 6 refreshes your memory.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the type of gun that it was?
So Glock 19.
Was the Glock 19 made safe on the scene? Did you all collect it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was it empty?
It was ammunition that was in the chamber as well as in the magazine.
The gun was loaded?
Yes, ma'am.
The door panel where the Glock was sticking up from and the defendant, when the door is closed, how close to the defendant, based on where he was seated in the vehicle, would that Glock have been?
Like maybe if he had his hand on his thigh, maybe a few inches away.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Cross.
I'm gonna leave this up here, no, it's not.
Yes, ma'am.
You stated you have no formal training in the detection of marijuana?
See, I
No
used to.
formal training in the detection of the smell of marijuana or presence of marijuana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have a body cam on today, or on this day?
Yes, ma'am.
When the window was rolled down, did you make any mention of marijuana?
No, ma'am.
And the vehicle was searched?
Yes, ma'am.
Was marijuana found?
There were crumblers on the floorboard, but not enough that I collect or charge with.
Were photos taken of the crumbs on the floorboard?
No, ma'am. I didn't take any photos of it.
Okay. The gun that was found, was the VIN ran on it?
The serial number?
The
Yes, ma'am.
serial number, yes. Are you aware of who it came back to? Let me ask you this, I'm sorry, let me ask you this, did it come back stolen?
No, ma'am.
Okay, are you familiar with who it came back to?
Yes, ma'am, afterwards.
Okay, did you at any point ask Mr. Greer when he gained knowledge of the firearm being there? Being in the door?
I didn't ask him about the firearm once I opened the door, he stated pretty much an utterance that the firearm was registered. So I immediately, just by his utterance, I knew that he had knowledge that it was there.
He didn't make any statement as far as when he gained knowledge that it was there?
No, ma'am. I didn't ask him on scene about the firearm.
1 second, Your Honor. Were you able to tell whether Mr. Greer gained knowledge immediately before, whether he brought the gun with him?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I see any questions. You know,
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Lloyd?
Not in the line of questioning, it just occurred to me, Your Honor, as I sat down, that I did not give to the court the exhibits that pertain to the photograph of the firearms that I'd like to do. And to ask just briefly whether the serial number, to the best of your recollection, that was reported in the report, AHF in 219, was the serial number.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Now also arrest and be permanently temporarily excused.
Yes, Your Honor, from
Also arrest and permanently excused. Please, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, with now.
Your Honor, State Calls Officer Daniel Brown to the stand.
Summon Officer Brown, please.
Yeah, with the question of a 2-minute quick break.
Yeah, you can read.
All right, hold on, y'all. Gotta stop this one. I know it's a pain in the butt to have CDs and clippings, but that's the way he gave it to me, guys. That's the way he gave it to me. I didn't do it myself. All right, here's the next one, guys. Here's the next one.
Officer Brown, you're welcome to take off your mask if you show desire. Probably help us hear you a little bit better. Okay. All right, madam.
Has he been?
Yes, he has.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
He has not.
Yes, can you just, your full name?
Daniel Brown,
Okay.
And Officer Brown, where are you employed?
with the City of Atlanta Police Department,
And how long have you been with the City of Atlanta Police Department?
about 12 years.
And where is your current assignment?
It's the Real-Time Crime Center, previously known as the VIC,
And how long have you been with the Real Time Crime Center?
about 8 years.
If you could tell the judge, what is the Real Time Crime Center?
So the Real-Time Crime Center, it's made up of sworn officers and military vets, and we cover all 6 zones of the city with cameras, camera deployment, and monitoring any big events or situations.
And how many cameras is within the Real Time Crime Center across the city?
So recording cameras about 1,100, and then license plate readers about 513.
And when we're talking about the recording cameras, these 1,100 across the city, where are they generally positioned?
So they'll be on city poles, like on the corners of many intersections between the 6 zones.
And tell the judge a little bit about how the actual recording cameras work.
Okay, so the recording cameras, they're basically called a PTZ camera, which they pan, which we go 360 around, tilt up, down, and then zoom in and out.
And on the cameras with the video system, is there a time and date?
Yes, so there's a timestamp for every video, every camera that we have. It keeps an accurate timestamp.
And so the time on the video will be the actual date and time.
Of the actual, yes.
Now, within the Real Time Crime Center, about how many officers and civilians work within the center?
Around probably 18.
And are all 18 doing the same things?
Yes, so, well, we're broken up into 2 different sides. You have a monitoring side and you have a technical side. So the monitoring side, they pretty much have computer setups and they watch cameras pretty much throughout the entire day. And then on the technical side, we deal with more so the maintenance, new deployments, and just make sure the functionality of everything is accurate.
And are you also able to monitor as well?
Yes.
Now, I want to direct your attention to this particular matter. Are there, or is there a monitoring camera near 221 Cleveland Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, we have one right over there at Cleveland Avenue and Steel Street.
And that camera that's on Cleveland Avenue and Steel Street, where is that camera situated?
So it's on that corner and it's facing, like it covers like the BP gas station and most of that area right there.
And did you receive a request, or the APD receive a request from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office in order to obtain the video footage from that real-time camera?
Yes.
And was it for the dates of April 25th through April 28th, 2023?
Yes,
and also May 2nd through May 4th, 2023.
yes, that's correct.
And were you all able to provide video images from those dates?
Yes,
And have you had the opportunity to review the camera's footage from those dates?
yes,
You have permission to approach?
You may.
Officer Brown, I'm showing you what's been marked as Stacy exhibit number 9. Do you recognize it?
yes.
And how do you recognize Stacy exhibit number 9?
My signature is on.
Okay. And what is contained on Stacy exhibit number 9?
Video recordings from the camera, from that particular camera.
And is it from those particular days that we just addressed?
Yes,
And were those videos a fair and accurate depiction of the images that was captured by the camera on the days April 25th through 28th and May 2nd through May 4th?
yes.
Your Honor, is this time to say what I took? Excuse me, were there any additions or deletions?
No,
Your Honor, this time to say what I tender Stacy exhibit number 9 into evidence.
Any objection to states 9?
No, Your Honor.
States 9 is admitted.
Your Honor, permission to publish?
You may publish, madam.
And your Honor, permission to sit while published.
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Officer Brown, you should see on the screen in front of you, on the video, do you see it?
yes,
And I want to take you to some particular timestamps, okay?
okay.
First, looking at Stacy exhibit number 9, this video is titled April 25th at 1600. What time is 1600?
4 p.m.
Right? And I'm going to forward it to 1639.
Okay.
Do you see a black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon vehicle driving into that location?
Yes,
And let me ask you this, we just talked about earlier about the BP gas station, that's the BP gas station that we were just speaking of earlier.
yes.
And you can tell the judge a little bit about where exactly this BP gas station is on Cleveland Avenue.
So it's sitting like right off like 75, like southbound. And that's the gas station like right off of Cleveland and Steel. We'll cover that area.
Now, do you still see that black G-Wagon vehicle, that we just saw a few minutes coming into the parking lot?
Yes, it reversed them. Mhm.
On your screen, you should be able to, if it works, tap the left side of your screen at the bottom.
Okay.
The bottom of the tap
Oh.
screen. Does anything come up that you can mark the screen?
Yeah.
If you can circle where you currently see that black.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
All right, and now I'm gonna fast forward to 1612. Do you still see the vehicle in the same space?
Yes.
And does it appear as if that same vehicle is now leaving?
Yes.
Stop, now I'm gonna show you the next video on this exhibit. That's at that same gas station.
Okay.
Is that a yes for the record?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. And I'm gonna fast forward to 2330. If you can tell us what time is 2330?
You said 23:30,
Yes.
11:30
Is that PM?
p.m. Yes.
And That's after 10 o'clock PM, correct?
Yes.
You like to see what I was talking about too. Looking at 23, 30, and 34, do you see what appears to be that same?
All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go. We're almost done, y'all. Damn, in this video. Okay, here we go.
Black vehicle. I'm gonna stop it at 23, 30, 13.
Okay.
Do you see what appears to be a black G-Wagon vehicle?
Yes.
Does it appear to look like the same vehicle we just saw in the other video?
Yes.
And again, that is 11:30 in PM, correct?
Yes.
Now I'm gonna fast forward to 23, 34, 14. See 20, 30, 34, 29. Do you see that same vehicle again?
Yes.
I'm gonna fast forward to 23, 41. Do you see that same, what appears to be that same black vehicle again?
Yes.
just gonna kind of fast forward through. Looking at 234540, do you see that black vehicle, now back into a parking space in front of the store?
Yes.
Nerd Life said you have to be strapped driving something like that. Nerd Life, you. Oh, Lord. You got to protect yourself, right, Nerd Life?
And as we just fast forward through, does it appear that that vehicle just sits there?
Yes.
And as I'm looking through, it's still just sitting there.
Yes.
Look at the police out there, too. There's a police standing right there talking to somebody. Y'all see him?
And it is still sitting there.
Yes.
But Miss Fat, he can't even be near somebody who has a gun.
And did it stay there at least until the end of that video?
Yes.
23:59. So between 23:30 and 05, when the car first gets there, 23:59:11, how many minutes did that car at that gas?
You said from what was the time frame?
23:30 to 23:59.
About 25 minutes.
Right? Next, we're gonna go to April 26, 2000.
I think he must have forgot he was on probation.
What time does the video start?
I don't see it yet. It's going to be 3:55 p.m.
Fast forward to the time at 3:59. Do you see what appears to be that same black Mercedes-Benz truck pulling into the gas station on April 26, 2023 at 3:59?
Yes.
And is it backed in near the front of the BT gas station like that same vehicle was tonight before?
Yes.
I want to fast forward. The vehicle still sitting there?
Yes.
And as I'm fast forwarding, is the time kind of moving
Yes, it is.
and the car still sitting there?
Yes.
What time is it that the car moves from that space to the pump?
At 4:37 p.m.
So it had been sitting for about 37 minutes before it moved?
Yes.
At 1642, do you see someone getting into the vehicle?
Yes.
She told that's a male or female?
Male?
Fast forward.
Okay, let's stop there. Do the next one. Stop. Let's get the next one.
Does that car then leave from the pump and go back to the same spot it was in previously?
Yes.
I wouldn't have been going to no gas station. I'm sorry. Nah, I would have stayed away from that gas station. It's just me.
Fast forward.
The way he's being watched like a hawk.
That car is still sitting there.
Yes.
And, at 1729, the car moving.
Yes.
So between 1559 and 1729, tell the court how long that is?
You said from 1529 to 1729?
1559 until 1729.
About almost 2 hours.
Fast forwarding.
Okay.
You see that same black G-Wagon pull back up again, or what appears to be the same car pull back up again.
Yes.
At what time is it?
1934, so that's going to be 7:34 p.m.
And was that 2 hours, has 2 hours passed since we last saw you?
Yes.
Okay, this is boring. Can we stop this? Because the judge is gonna say, this is boring. This is like so boring. Who cares? This is very boring.
And does it appear that the vehicle is leaving?
Yes.
All right, the car got there at 16:34, what time to leave?
At 5:10
Well,
p.m.
4:30 for the 5 10, how long is the vehicle out?
Oh, 40 minutes, 50 minutes.
Fast forward. You see that same black vehicle, or what appears to be that same black vehicle?
Yes,
What time is it?
it is 7:27 p.m.
So about how much time has passed from the last time we saw you?
I can't remember from the last clip that you showed me.
Was the time saying 17:10 the last time we saw it?
Yes, that's correct.
5:10, so this is about 2 hours later,
Yes,
or 2.5 hours later?
yes, that's correct.
Someone get out the back of the vehicle,
Yes,
and you see someone get out the front driver's side of the vehicle,
yes,
did that appear to be a male or female?
male.
Did that person appear to be the same height as the person we saw in black sweatshirt and blue jeans?
From the other day?
Yes.
Yes.
Fast forward.
All right, let's see. Y'all tired of looking at these things, right? Tell the truth, tell the truth. Are you guys tired of looking at this thing? I know I am. Let's go to the end. Yeah, let's go to the end. Where she doing her closing argument and they doing their closing argument. Let's do that. Because all this looking at the car going in and out and all that's kind of like boring. Boring. All right, let's do this.
Ms. Love had that conversation with him about where he could go and what he couldn't do.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then, then what am I supposed to do at this point in time in terms of what he's alleged to have done and what he's doing? I mean, like I told the state, the petition is, in paragraph 1 and 2 gives forth what he was supposed to be doing. Paragraph 3 covers the terms and conditions which were set out, as you all mentioned earlier, and then 4 tells me what he's violated. So I can't really I can only consider what's in paragraph 4 in terms of what was allegedly violated in terms of what he did or what he didn't do. But the biggest thing is, part of that thing the state's record and you are mentioning is predicate. I mean, so, he's not supposed to violate the criminal law and not to hang out in places and spots that would cause him problems. So what other explanation other than can you say well, this is his community, But why am I supposed to look at that when when it's kind of like, if you're on probation, wouldn't you not hang around with those particular individuals? Doesn't it specifically say you're not supposed to?
Yeah, it
Yes,
says
Your Honor.
Okay.
And we did stipulate to these allegations. We're not arguing. I'm not arguing in any way that these are not the violations.
Well, they're not the proven.
I mean,
ones.
they're
They're
not,
not the
right.
allegations that he's subject to in the revocation. I just want you to be very clear about that. Okay.
And my point of giving you this information now, I'm offering this as we consider sentencing. That's essentially it.
All right.
I was just making the point that he's never had anybody leading him. He's never had anybody guiding him.
I object to this argument. It is based on facts, not in evidence. There's nothing to support what is being argued.
It's argument. I'll rule your objection.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Adding to that, he's grown living in the shadow of his younger brother, who we know gained a great amount of fame while he was in custody. He was kind of pushed to the background. On top of this current battle with family members, friends, the entire country, with this argument that he potentially may have cooperated in the past with his brother. So why is he here now? Seeking validation. And this is the environment that he's comfortable in. This is the environment that he's accepted in. And while this is a very poor choice, and I agree with that, this is the explanation why he's there. We saw the videos, and the officer that was on the stand.
what she's
pointed out this
saying
is the
don't
same
make any
car over and
sense.
over again. But what we didn't see is he was never pointed out with a firearm in his possession. There were others, not with him, but that had big bulges. They had fixing the
What
their
she's
pants
saying
with
does
firearms.
not
I
make
didn't hear any of
sense.
that. I do have one from you, state 6 and 7, which are the weapon that was allegedly taken, especially state 7.
Yes.
And if I believe the testimony that I heard this afternoon is that from Officer Raston, that the gun was about 3 or 4 inches from in the handle of the door. So, and it was in plain view when they opened the car door up. So he's already behind the wheel. He has a gun which is probably within 3 to 4
But
inches
see, here's
of
the
him
thing, Miss
in
Fat.
this door handle. So
Do the others
why-
have
and then the first thing
a
it said is, I
probation
believe
thing
that
going
what
on?
was
That's the
said,
question. Why are we
the
worried
gun
about
is-
others when
he states the gun's registered.
you have a
So-
particular
What else am I supposed to think?
plea deal that you did for
So
yourself?
my point previously.
Proximity to him,
Right.
okay, and he's driving the car. It's not like it's
I
in the
would
trunk.
have never stayed
So
around
you
that
won't.
place. I would
But
never.
It's-
Man, you wouldn't
he's
see me
driving
over
in a
there.
vehicle with a gun 3 to 4 inches from. He knows he's not supposed to have a gun because he's a convicted felon,
Yes.
and he's already signed several documents. We went through the plea colloquy with him in regards to his not having a gun, and then when he was processed and intake for probation.
Yeah, Coco, you're right. Nothing she can say.
Stage 3 is the acknowledgement of firearms, and stage 4 is prohibition about possessing firearms or ammunition that he signed when he was onboarded on probation. So it's not a question of he doesn't know that he's not supposed to have a weapon. You'd agree with me, wouldn't you?
I would agree, Your Honor.
So what am I supposed to do at this point in time? What do you ask me to do?
So, Your Honor, based on the facts that you've heard today, and then also, yes, as soon as he took a step out of the car.
But that's a
he
lie,
pulled
Miss
out the
Fat.
firearm.
He
said,
has
"There's
a
firearm right there."
leader.
did.
He
gave
just
an
decided
explanation.
to
He
do what
said
he
his
want to
girlfriend-
do.
Me and my girlfriend.
Objection, Your Honor, that is not at all.
That's facts not evidence. So I don't think I've heard anything in
Yes,
regards
Your
to
Honor.
anything. Okay.
Why
Continue
didn't
on.
she bring the
All right,
girl
so
up to
steps out of the
the
car.
thing and
He
say,
does say purportedly
And he does
that
give an
that
explanation.
the gun is registered. Okay, so
The explanation is not evidence. He does give an explanation of the firearm. My point in that is that he was completely honest. He didn't try to toss the firearm in the back. He didn't place it under the passenger seat of the passenger who is not a convicted felon. He was point blank honest. This
so
is what's
why
going
wasn't
on.
it on
Your Honor,
passenger
I know
side
the
then?
state is gonna ask for the balance in this case. The balance is 9.5 years approximately. And I just think that's grossly excessive. And if Mr. Greer wasn't involved in this big YSL
Okay, if the
case, this
passenger,
being his
hold
first
on, y'all,
ever
hold on.
conviction,
I need to ask a
under the
question.
same
Okay.
circumstances,
Okay. if the passenger is in the car and the gun belongs to the passenger, why is the gun in the driver's side? Why don't the passengers take the gun and put it where she was? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why don't she have the gun where she is? If it's her gun and she's the passenger, I would have moved over. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is the gun over there by the driver's side? Point blank honest. I don't know, Audra. All right, let me go ahead and finish playing this.
Recommendation would probably be significantly less. And considering all that you've heard today, Your Honor, we're asking to revoke 2 years to the state prison system.
So you want me to revoke 2 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hey, Sammy.
And the basis you want me to revoke 2 years is why? I mean, you agree with me, he's subject to my consideration of revoking the balance of his probation because this is a new offense, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So tell me why I shouldn't revoke the balance.
Your Honor, I don't think you should revoke the balance.
Yep, you're right.
because This is his first felony conviction. This is his first revocation, although I do agree it was very quick.
Yeah, how long was he on probation? When didn't I sentenced him December the 20th of 2022, and then he was arrested on 5/4 of 2023. So not even 5 months?
Correct, Your Honor.
Does that sound about right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure I got my dates correct.
He's not accused of possessing the firearm on his person. He's not accused of using the firearm, pointing at any type of violence. He's not accused of being at that gas station selling drugs, Your Honor. I just ask you to consider all of that in that a 9.5 year revocation is a lot. And we would just ask that you would consider a less amount of time.
Okay, and I certainly will do so.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, all right,
Stay.
all right, Miss Love, go ahead, madam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Judge, I'll point out that, as Ms. Mormon indicated during the course of the presentation of the state's evidence, the defendant does not contest the commission of the offenses that have been alleged in the petition. I will point out, however, that the only evidence that the court heard during the presentation of the evidence is that the defendant asserted when Officer Jakanga and Officer Raston asked him to step out of the vehicle and saw the gun. There was no indication at all. As a matter of fact, Officer Raston indicated that it was only after both he and Officer Jakanga noticed the gun, pointed out the gun, and saw that and made sure the defendant turned away from the gun. It was only when they themselves spoke of the gun that the defendant made the utterance, "It's registered, it's registered." And that is the only thing that the court has heard that the defendant offered. He did not offer up that the gun was there. He only, after they pointed out that the gun was there and that he had to be removed from where it was, that it was registered. As the court has heard, it was not an empty firearm, it was a loaded firearm. And
Loaded.
the footage of the
It would have been better if it was
defendant sitting in the
empty,
vehicle
huh?
prior to him
It would have been better if it was empty, huh? Lord Jesus, 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 Jesus. Sorry for making noise, y'all. My throat itching.
being pulled over indicates that As it is in evidence, he did not just come in contact with that firearm or that gun and that vehicle.
That's all right, Ms.
Ms.
Bat.
Moorman has indicated that this was his first felony conviction, and that is why the court should only revoke 2 years of his probation. I want to point out, Your Honor, that although it was overturned, the defendant recently had a murder conviction overturned, and he is essentially out on bond pending a new trial on a murder conviction. In 2020, he is at 221 Cleveland Avenue with this case in this indictment with a stolen firearm, Your Honor. So in saying that he should only get 2 years revoked because this is his first felony offense, I believe that that does not represent the entirety of the defendant standing before the court. The purpose of probation is to allow the defendant an opportunity to show or prove himself to the court
It is sad
as
for
being
you.
worthy of being outside of confinement. The court pointed out to the defendant no less than 6 times, as I have tabbed in the court's exhibit, that is the transcript of his guilty plea, what the purpose of a special condition is, and the fact that one of the special conditions of the defendant's plea is that he neither possess, transport, or have under his control a firearm. The sentence that was entered included a written statement, as is shown in the court's exhibit, that the special condition of the defendant's probation included that he performed 750 hours of community service, that he possessed no guns, shall not have guns during the term of his sentence or any time thereafter unless his right to do so is restored, that he commit no criminal acts, and it also includes curfew requirements. We are not asking the court to violate his probation on those curfew requirements. We are just pointing out the conditions of the defendant's probation. Your Honor, it is in writing in the sentence that the defendant is advised that a violation of any special condition of probation subjects the defendant to a revocation of probation, and the defendant may be required to serve up to the balance of the sentence in confinement. Your Honor, one of the reasons that certain conditions are made special conditions as opposed to general conditions is that general conditions subject defendants to up to 2 years in confinement, as opposed to special conditions which subject the defendant to the revocation of the balance of his probation in confinement. Your Honor, and the defendant has not only violated a special condition of his probation in that he has possessed a firearm, he has possessed a firearm no less than 6 months after being placed on probation. He has therefore committed a new felony offense, 2 new felony offenses that are alleged in the petition, and has shown that he is not a candidate for probation that should be afforded the opportunity to remain on said probation. For that reason, Your Honor, we are asking that the balance of the defendant's probation be revoked to the Department of Corrections, and that the defendant be required to spend the remainder of that time incarcerated in the Department of Corrections.
How much time does he have left, Ms. Lowe?
He has 9 years, and if I am correct with my math, 6 months left, but I will let Ms. Pretty, who is seated here, and she is telling me that I'm correct, 9 years and 6 months left.
Is that correct, Ms. Pretty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chamberlain, can you hand Mr. Russ and Ms. Moorman a copy of that plea colloquy that I referenced earlier, is course 3? You can start on page 13. Councils, I'm gonna give this to you all. It is, you can take a look at it. It is a copy of course 3. It should be the entire plea colloquy that your client underwent on the 20th of December of 2022. It hasn't been changed or altered in any way. It's an official excerpt of that particular hearing. So I want you to help your client follow along with that. Mr. Greer, I take no pleasure in us being here again, but do you recall when I sentenced you on the 20th of December that I went through certain things that you were expected to do at that point in time? You remember that? Do you remember? I'd like you to turn to page 13. All right, about line 11, the question I asked you was, do you understand that if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to a revocation for the balance of the sentence? Your response was yes. Is that correct? All right. And in the next question on line 16, do you understand that you're not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you remember we had that saying? I mean, we had that conversation about that? Okay, all right. On the next page, on page 14, you remember, and this is, I just wanted to kind of just point this out to you. Do you remember we had that conversation about you run the risk of subjecting yourself to additional charges if you have a firearm? Remember on page 14 about line 11, I want you to read that to yourself. That's not what you're being associated today with, but you remember we had a conversation, we had a lot of conversation about firearms, and Ms. Love's right. About 6 things in this plea colloquy talk about firearms.
Yes,
So do you
Your Honor.
remember us talking about that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Greer, you remember on page 21, I asked you how old you were and about your family
Yes, Your Honor.
and about how, we talked to you about being put on a curfew. That's on page 22.
Yes, Your Honor.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then turn to page 26 at the very top of the page. You remember me talking to you about, this is me, the court. You shall possess no guns during the term of your sentence or any time after, unless your right to have it or possession of a firearm has been restored. All right? And your answer? Yes, Your Honor. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
On that same page on line 19, also, when we talked about the special conditions of your sentence, you will possess no guns during the term of the sentence or at any time thereafter unless your rights are restored. This is a special condition of probation. You remember us talking about that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
All right, y'all. This is the final one. This is the final one. Final one's coming up. Oh, did he finish talking? I'll close it out. Did he finish talking, y'all? I thought he finished talking. Did he finish? I think he did. All right, let's do the final one. Let's do the final one. Not doing community service duties and missing curfew does show he didn't care about his freedom. He signed a plea deal knowing that what possible consequences were. You right, Bonnie? I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. I don't know. All right, let's go.
Sure, there's no gun during the term of the sentence in the other after should be restored.
Defendant shall possess no guns during the term of the sentence or at any time thereafter unless his right to do is restored. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And your signature is on the on page 37. Is that correct? That you've read this agreement, you've had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Russ, Ms. Norman about this agreement, and no other promises other than the ones made in the document in furtherance of this agreement. And you gave this freely, voluntarily entered into this agreement without force, threat, or coercion. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So it's not like we didn't have a conversation about this firearm, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I don't take pleasure in sending people to prison.
Yeah, but
It's
you
part
gave
of
him
the
a whole
job
9
and the
years.
responsibilities I have as part of what
You gave him a whole 9 years. Judge.
potential consequences are of people's actions. But in this particular circumstance, the state has alleged that you didn't pay your probation fees, and okay, and I've heard evidence that you haven't paid your fees. You owe $141.08 in fees. You haven't started any of the community service in this particular case, so I find those to be proven violations. But those are relatively minor. I mean, we still want you to adhere to all the conditions, but they're the 3 violations and the grade of those violations, they're not as severe as getting a new case, okay? A new charge. And part of the special condition was that you're not supposed to possess a gun. And the state was very clear, and Ms. Pretty testified earlier about one of the things that you were given in terms of your reporting in states 1 and 2. And then
But here's the deal too, y'all. Let me say something. As a person that's supposed to be a girlfriend, why would you have a gun around your man who cannot be near a gun? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why would you have, at least put it on the side where you are so he won't get in trouble. You get what I mean? Why would you have it on the side where he's driving? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. The gun belongs to you. You're in the passenger seat, but you got the gun over there by him. I don't know. I don't know. Let me just shut up.
Goodacre came in and specifically you signed acknowledgement of firearm in states 3 and prohibition of possessing firearms or ammunition in states 4. And then I saw states 6 and 7, which was the Glock 9 that was taken from the vehicle, which you were the driver, shaded 3 to 4 inches from that. So I find that based upon the evidence presented in this case, the state has proven by preponderance of the evidence that you have violated your probation in the 3 means as set forth in paragraph 4 on the petition. Now, in terms of the revocation, your attorney has asked me to consider a revocation of 2 years. And I certainly respect her, and I certainly respect that, you don't know unless you ask. The issue I find aggravating in this particular circumstances are several. You got arrested with a gun within 6 months of you being placed on probation. And I agree with the state that you're not a candidate for probation because all you had to do is just complete your probation and do what you're supposed to do. Instead, you were riding around the car with a gun in violation of your probation and what this court explicitly had conversations with you about. Explicitly, on the record. And for that reason, sir, I'm going to revoke the balance of 9 years and 6 months.
Wow.
And you will serve that in the Department of Corrections. And that will be the sentence of the court. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that will be the sentence of the court. Okay, we're in recess.
He asked, do I have to come back? That was the last one, guys. That was it on that. It's sad. It's pretty sad. That was sad. That was really, 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 really sad. Very sad. Very, very sad. But oh, okay. We got some footage from this one. Well, I just saved the footage from today for tomorrow, okay? And I just wanted to show you guys the actual footage from the hearing with YoungThug's. And it was not a pretty sight. I mean, it's sad. That's all I can say. All right, guys. You guys have an awesome evening. Good night. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, tomorrow I'll be on my way to court. Thursday, you're going to have a hearing. And the judge, we can't blame the police and say it was set up. He simply did this to himself. Bonnie, I don't think anybody said it's a setup on this one. Not on this at all. Because he had ample opportunity, even when he was at the gas station. Why she didn't take possession of her own gun? I don't know. Well, anyway, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys later. I'm getting ready to do my my members only live. You have a great evening, but good people. Bye.